Hey there, thanks for watching this video, Into the Code with Danny. Today I'll be showing you how to create a PowerShell GUI app that will let you clear a folder either on your computer or remotely on another computer. So this is the end product here. You're going to have an app with the title, Clear Folder, so we know what it does. You're going to have a label saying computer, and you could enter a computer name into the text box here. Then you're going to have three buttons. One that's for OK, to run the process on the computer, clear, to clear out any data you may put in that box, like so, and close, to close the application. Then you'll have a status bar here, which will update you on the status of when it's processing and in the act of clearing the folder, and when it's finished, or it'll prompt you that the computer is offline in the case the computer is not pingable. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and click this close button here. So let's get started. First, you're gonna wanna go to my GitHub. What I did is I posted a link to my GitHub PowerShell repository where you'll be able to copy the code. The title of this is gonna be Update Clear Folder Remotely YouTube video. So if you come across that, you'll know that you came across the right one. So first, you're going to have the script. You're going to go ahead and copy this. And then we'll talk about what the script is actually doing. That's exciting. Let me open up a notepad. You can do the same on your computer. And you're just going to paste it into a notepad. Okay, so there's all the code. And at this point, you're going to go ahead and save it on your computer. Save it wherever you like. You can save it to your desktop. Now I'm going to be demonstrating this on a virtual machine. So I have my virtual box here, quite a few virtual machines. I have my Windows Server 2016, my Windows 10 client running at this moment. Let me go ahead and pull those up now. Now, I created two videos showing you how to create your own virtual lab with the Windows Server 2016 and Windows 10 machine. So here's the most likely the first video. This is most likely the first video, and this is most likely the second video here. Okay, and if you're on the edge, maybe you don't know too much about virtual machines, you can watch my video where I explain why you should download a virtual machine and use this lab setup. All right, so let me go ahead and just delete these folders here, these files. Click X on those. And so if you want to run this on your own computer, you can. I'm using a virtual machine, so I'm just going to go ahead and copy it over to my virtual machine here. There we go. If you have any issues copying over to your virtual machine, perhaps you didn't watch my video, I'd suggest you do, because I'll show you how to set up a virtual machine so you'll be able to copy and paste your notepads. So we'll go ahead and open this up. All right, great. And so this first portion of the code, let's go ahead and go over this. I'll put this over to the side here. And actually, I'll just paste this over to PowerShell. So go ahead and type in PowerShell ISE. And we're going to run it as administrator. We'll wait a second. All right, there it is. You can see I still have this open from my last session. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just open up a new blank page. This first page, I'm just going to exit out of it. No. So let's talk about this blank page, because this is how PowerShell ISE should open up if you're using it for the first time. So let's just go over this real quickly. This is just a blank page where I can input my scripts. You can see for every line that I input, it will start counting. This will come in handy as we go through this course and you'll be able to follow along. I'll mention the numbers. So if I say I'm talking about numbers 1 through such, then you'll know I'm talking about that line of code. And this blank page is a .ps1 file, which PS1 files are scripts in PowerShell. Down here, you're able to actually run commands. Hostname would show me the host name of the computer. And over here, you can see commands that you can use. Well, you can use those commands there. If you want to change the layout, you can change the layout. I like this layout. And we don't need much need for this yet because we're going to be working primarily in the scripting area here. So at this point, go ahead and copy over the contents of the notepad over to the PowerShell ISE session that you have, starting on line 1, and paste it in. Let me scroll all the way up here. So let's go ahead and get started with some of the logic behind this. The try catch statement. I'm just going to highlight it so you can see it. And this isn't meant to be a coding course, but I like to go over this. So if you choose to use this in some of the scripts that you make down the line, you'll know what it does. Try. Here it's going to import the Active Directory module. Now, if you don't know what Active Directory is, let me go ahead and just open up the GUI version. This is Active Directory user and computers. You could think of it as a database, almost like a phone book, where you can look up users who are on the domain. If you're doing this from your own computer, you probably don't have this installed. Again, another reason why you should probably watch my setting up a virtual lab video. Here I'm just going to type in administrator. And you can see that we have an administrator who's a part of the domain. I'm currently signed in as an administrator. I'll go ahead and close this out, but what you're doing is you're loading this into your PowerShell session. So we're able to work with it. Now, you'll see this catch statement at the bottom here. What this is saying is try to import Active Directory module here and run this script. If you run into an issue along the way, I want you to catch the issue and run this. Here, we're going to remove the PowerShell cache. So we're just clearing the PowerShell cache. By doing this, the next time I were to open up PowerShell, we can just run it now so you can get an idea of what it's doing. I'll just run this line of code here. Here, I'm running a section of the code. Here, I'm going to be able to run the whole script. I only want to run this highlighted section here. So I'm just going to run the section, and it's going to clear the PowerShell cache. I'll wait for it to finish. As you can see, it's running because it says running script down here, and the run script buttons are grayed out. The only option is to stop the operation. And so I'll just let this run. Okay, it's completed. As you can see, it says here completed. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna close it out. I'm not gonna save any changes. I'm gonna open up PowerShell ISE again. And this is typically how I troubleshoot PowerShell ISE issues. I reopen it. And as you can see, nothing populates. Why? Because it's deleted the cache. Let me close it out again. And I'm going to go ahead and open up PowerShell ISE again, this time as admin. Because we're going to be clearing folders, deleting folders, we're going to run this as admin. Otherwise, we won't be given the permissions we need to remove those folders. I'm going to go and copy over this code. All right. So I'm going to go and show you a visual diagram of the try-catch statement. All right, so here's a visual diagram. As you see here, it says try, code, catch, error handling. And again here, if there's no errors, ignore catch block. If there are errors, then you're gonna go ahead and execute the catch block. Now, I'm going to take into consideration some of my viewers aren't going to have a virtual machine. Maybe you just want to hit the ground running and you want to start scripting on your computer. That's perfectly fine. Do exactly what I'm doing right now so you don't have any issues down the line. You're going to go ahead and hit the pound symbol, and it's going to comment out the try catch statement. Why? You don't need it. You're using it on your own computer. If you follow my virtual VM videos, then you can go ahead and leave it. Why? Because in the video I show you how to install Active Directory module. Again, at the end, I'll show you how to run the code if you're doing it on another computer or if you're doing it with the virtual computer. Now, this catch statement, let's go ahead and comment that out as well. So here I'm commenting out lines 89 through 94, like so. Don't forget line 87 has to be commented out as well. The pound hash symbol will comment out any characters after the pound symbol. So again, we're going to go ahead and comment out line 1 with the pound symbol, line 87, and line 89 through 94. Now, if you miss one of these, you're going to run into an error later on. Make sure you double check it if you do run into an error. Let's go and get started with this. So, what is this code doing? It's clearing a folder. I'll show you how to modify the code if you want to actually delete a folder or a text file. Let's go over the beginning of this here. Here we're creating a Windows form, and we're creating a new object, and that new object is going to be a system Windows form. Now, this object is going to be equal to our variable here, cache CS form. Now, let's go over how this works. Now, what we're seeing here, and let's jump from the Windows form just over to this computer text box. So here you see new object, system Windows form dot text box is equal to the variable cache computer text box. What this is really saying is that this text box here is equal to this computer text box variable. You could think of a variable as a box. We're taking an object and we're putting it in that box, and we're saying from now on, whenever we reference this object, we're actually going to just reference what's in this box, which is the variable. And this variable is called computer text box. Now, if this all sounds too complicated, just bear with me. Throughout my years of IT experience, I learned sometimes the best way to learn is just to bear with it until the very end. And then your light bulb will blink. So as I mentioned earlier, here we're just creating a new object. Then we're putting that object into this cache.cs form variable. Now, the variable is going to have properties. You could think of this cache.cs form as being kind of like a car in a sense. I like to use car because the car has parts. You have tires, you have a window, you have doors. And you could think of those parts as being the properties of that object. Now, here we're setting the size of our form. So you could think of it like the size of your car, right? We just want to ensure that we set certain properties so that when our form displays, it'll be a specific size. Here I'm saying I want a size of 300 by 200. And here I'm saying I want my CS form to have some text to label the form. And that label will say clear folder. That way we know what the app is doing. Now, this portion is very important, and you're going to run across issues if you don't remember this. The pound symbol will comment things out. Here, this cs.show dialog basically says, hey, form, come out, appear so we can see you. If I delete the comment, then we'll be able to see the form. Let me show you. So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight line 3 all the way through 9, and I'm going to click this button. Remember, this button will only run a selection of the code. It won't run the whole thing. That's exactly what we want, because I want to walk you through the whole code. All right, so let's click it, and voila, there is our form. And it's the size that we want it to be, 200 by 300, right? 200 by 300. Now, another thing to take in mind is that the text says clear folder. Clear folder. Great, so we know that this app will clear a folder. And the show dialog says, hey, form, come out so we can see you. And look, we can see it. We can work with it. What if I want to close it? Just click the X button. Well, that sounds great. What if this were commented out? Let me comment it out and let me run the code so you can see what happens. I just commented out line 9. Now I'm going to run this section. Nothing happens. Why? Because that comment is saying don't run this code. So it's not running line 9. And line 9 is the code that says, hey, come out so we can see you, form. Now let me go ahead and uncomment it out. Let's run it again. Run line 3 through 9. Let me click the run selection button. And there it is. We're going to be commenting out certain lines of code. As I walk you through this, go ahead and close your app. And at this point, what I want you to do is comment line 9. Because as we work through certain properties of this form, you're going to see them appear. And we're going to want to comment it out. That way, the order of the form is shown the way we want to see it. So, for instance, I'll show you in the next discussion here, the computer text box. Now, let me go ahead and go over to my slide. So this is the computer text box here, and I already mentioned variables. So the computer text box will allow me to type in a computer name, type in my name. So you can think of it as editable, right? You can edit, you can work with it, you can write to it. And a label, which you'll see in a bit, is only readable. You can't write into it. You could only see it. So let me go ahead and show you. So here we have a computer text box. As you see, I've done the same thing. New object, system, Windows form, text box. Then I went ahead and took this object and put it inside of a variable. Now, whenever we reference this object, we're going to reference it by this variable, computer text box. Now I want to set some properties for my computer text box. So, like mentioned earlier, that form is like a car. Well, your door has parts to it too. Your door has the door handle. It has the automatic door lock. And maybe it has other functions. Well, you can think of it like this. This computer text box is kind of like that door. And the location and size are like things like the handle and the automatic door locks. They're little properties for that object. So here we're setting a location. Let's go ahead and play around the location so you can see the position and what it does. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and comment line 9 out. Order matters. So let's say we comment line 17 out. Now when this code runs, we'll go ahead and highlight lines 3 all the way through 17. I'm going to go ahead and click my selection button. So I ran the section. Let me go ahead and move this up so you can see. There's my app. And as you see, now we have a text box. Well, what if I comment line 17 out? And what if we just ran line 9? Let's try it. Notice something's missing? The text box. Because the order matters. All this script is seeing is it's creating our Windows object, our form object. Then it goes to line 12, it runs that, but it isn't given a command to show the text box because, well, we commented it out. So let's go ahead and close that. Let's go ahead and turn back over here. Let's comment back line 9 out. Let's uncomment line 17 out. And let's adjust this location. So 80 is a position from the left side of the app. 23 is the position from the top bar. You'll see it in a second. Let me run the selection. So again, we're looking at 80 is from this sidebar here to the very edge of our text box. Whereas the 23 is the position from this top area here and this top bar to the very top of our text box up here. So those are reference points. We'll adjust them so you can see. Let me change this to 10. You'll see that it'll be closer to the bar. Let me enter that again, 10. And let me highlight the code I want to run. Click Run Selection. And look at that. It's a lot closer to the side. What if you had to put a label there? That way people know what the text box is for. Well, you wouldn't have enough room. Let's go ahead and put that back. Wait, it was. Here you have the undo button. We'll go ahead and undo it. Maybe we made a mistake. We'll go ahead and set that back. All right, let's set this to 5 instead of 23. Let's run lines 3 all the way to 17. Run selection. Look at that, it's a lot closer to the top. We'll go ahead and exit this out and return the code to the way it was. Should have 23. So as you can see, the size of that text box is 150 by 23. Now, text box do have a somewhat default size. We can go ahead and adjust it so you can just see what happens if I adjust it. So we'll change this to 300. Let's go and run it now. Now you can see it's a lot longer. So if you wanted to make it longer, perhaps you have people entering their first and last names. Some names are longer than others. Now, as for the 23, you can't make it much bigger than 23, to be honest. We could adjust it, but you won't see much of a change. Let's go ahead and undo our changes. Let's change this to 100. Let's run it. And you can see maybe it's a little bit wider, but not much of a change at all. And that's because, well, text box on somewhat a default size. We'll go ahead and exit out of that. We'll change it back to 23. All looks good. Now here I'm saying I want my computer text box to be read only, and I set that to false. Why is it set to false? That way we could type into it. Observe. I'm just randomly typing in. If it were set to true, then it would basically act as a label, and we would only see it, but we wouldn't able to interact with it. All right, so here we're adding our object to the form. I'm saying add the computer text box to the form here on line 16. Let's try commenting it out. Let's see what happens. Comment it out. Come up here, run this portion. Oh, it's gone. Should appear, right? I mean, line 9's not uncommented. Why isn't it appearing? That's because we didn't add it to the form. That's what line 16 is doing. So let's go ahead and uncomment line 16 out. Now let's run it again. Lines 3 through line 17. And there it is. Awesome. So let's go ahead and comment line 17 out as we move down the form. Now, like I mentioned earlier, you're going to want to have a label. That way people know what the text box is for. And here I'm creating a new object, system, Windows, forms, and a label. The .NET framework, it gives you the ability to create objects by inputting lines of code like this. Here we specify we wanted a text box, and here we specify we wanted a form. Now, the .NET framework is basically Windows compatible. That's why some of these apps look pretty familiar. Maybe you've interacted with a .NET app, and it looked somewhat familiar to the app I just showed you. Now, the locations. Here we're setting the location. Again, I created a comment up here if you want to reference what the location is for. It's right over here. And the size of that label. Could make it larger or smaller. And here we have the text. So I input computer into the text, and you'll see just in a second And afterwards, add the label to my form here. And here, line 24, I'm saying, show the form. After you've executed line 3 to 24, show us the form. Let's go ahead and uncomment that out. And let's go ahead and run lines 3 through 24. Run section. And look at that. It says computer. So now I know what to enter into this box. But unlike the text box, I can't type into it. I can't interact with it. And that's perfect. Let's go ahead and close it out. Let's go ahead and comment line 24 out. Now, as you create your own apps, you're just going to want to make sure that you do these 3 things. Create your object, put in a variable. 2 is going to be to add it to whatever form you have. And 3 is going to be at the end to ensure that you show your form. If you do those 3, you should have a working form. As for the properties, that's up to you to set. And I like for you to take this script and make it your own. All right, let's go ahead and open this up a little bit more. I'm just going to. And we're going to run line 3 all the way up to line 30. Because I'm going to be showing you the status bar next. Okay, so here we have a status bar. As you see, it says ready. Now, here we have status bar, text ready, and we added that to our form here. This is just to give you an example before I show you. So let's go to line 19 here. Actually, sorry about that. So we just talked about the computer label. That was line 19 all the way to 24. Make sure you comment out 24. And let's look at line 26 and 30. So here we have a new object, Windows form status bar. We're putting that into the return status variable. Then we're setting up some properties for that variable. You could think of this as maybe your engine, right? Your car has a power and that's an engine. That engine can be a 1.5 turbo. It could be a hybrid engine. Whatever that be, that has specific parts. So you think of it like here we're creating a status bar and we're setting up the properties for that object. So the name of the object is going to be a status bar. It's going to be set to ready. That way we know we can input a computer name and it's ready to take it. We're going to add this status bar to our form here. And we're going to show that status bar on the form. Let's go ahead and uncomment out line 30. And I want you to highlight line 3 all the way to line 30. Run the selection. And as you see, ready. So there's the status bar. We'll go ahead and exit out of this. I feel like you're picking up at this point. So let's go ahead and comment that out. And we'll go through this a little bit quicker. So here you have a new object, system, Windows form, button. So we're creating a button. We're putting that button in the OK button variable. You know it's a variable because it has the cache symbol right next to it. And the text of this button is going to be OK. The location of the button is going to be 23,100. So it's going to be awfully close to the side, but it's going to be further down from the top bar. Now, this is where we get to the meat and potatoes here. that OK button, when clicked, is going to run all this code here. So it's going to start off with the parentheses and the curly bracket, and it's going to run that code all the way to the end, where you'll then see a, oh, sorry, overdid it. Parentheses, or curly bracket and parentheses here on line 69. Any code within those parentheses and curly bracket will be run. Everything outside of it doesn't pertain to the OK button. As you see, I mean, while this does pertain to the OK button, it doesn't interfere with the code that we want to run. Because what we want this to do is we want to input a computer name, click the OK button, and then it's going to delete the contents of the folder or the folder itself. I'll show you how to do that in a bit. So what is this doing exactly? Well, when you click the OK button, it's going to test a connection. Basically, it's going to ping the computer. So it'll ping the computer, make sure it's online. If it's offline, well, you won't be able to delete anything because the computer's going to be offline. It's going to take whatever you entered in the computer text box, which we specified earlier, that computer text box variable is referenced by the computer text box, right, variable there. And it's going to take it as text. Now, when you work with variables, you can specify different types of variables. Maybe you have numbers. You're going to be working with decimals. Maybe you have strings. You're going to be only working with text, basically. In PowerShell, we're just going to specify text, basically, as a string, words. Then it's going to do is quietly. It's not going to prompt you. It's not going to show ping reply status. But I do want to be notified whether or not that ping was successful. And if it was successful, then it should start processing my commands. And that's exactly what this code on line 39 does. The return status, that's our status bar, okay? And so it's saying set that status bar's text to ping successful. Note that this is the logic behind the code here. If this runs lines 39, starting at the curly bracket, all the way down to line, let's see here, 44, ending curly bracket or inboard curly bracket will run. Well, what if it doesn't ping successful? That's where the else clause comes in. It says else, return to the status bar, the computer is offline. Because if the computer is offline, we can't do anything with it. This is the ending bracket. This is the starting bracket. So this is an example of an if-else. You're going to be using these a lot in coding. So here we have a condition. Test the computer and see if it's online. This is our condition. If that condition is met, then what I want you to do is I want you to run this code. Let me go ahead and backspace there. After the curly bracket, all the way to the inboard curly bracket. Else, start running this code, start the curly bracket, end the curly bracket here. All right. So if that ping is successful, it's going to prompt to the status bar processing. So we know it's doing something. Here, it's going to start a PowerShell session. PowerShell sessions are basically your computer connecting to another computer. Your computer can also connect to itself, but if you're doing it from your own computer, I'll show you exactly which code to run and how to run it. If you're doing this remotely, it's going to start a new PowerShell session. Then the computer name and whatever computer name you entered in the text box as text. It's going to invoke a command, which is basically saying I want you to run this command from the start of the curly bracket to the end. And it's going to start a session. So this is the PowerShell session here. So this is the code that initiates the session. This is the code that says to start that specific session with the computer and to run this command once that session is initiated. Here it's going to remove an item from the computer located in the C drive test folder. So the test folder here is going to be the parent. Whatever is in the test folder is going to be the child. Here I specify a wildcard, meaning any folder in that parent folder is going to be removed. Here it's saying recursor, so remove everything. Forcefully remove it in case it prompts. And confirm set to false, meaning don't tell me when you're done. That's what the status bar is there for. The status bar will return complete once done. Else if, well, the condition wasn't met, I want the status bar to return computer offline so I know it's not online and I'll have to try some other time. Well, what if you're doing it from your own computer? As you see, line 37, I say to run this on a virtual lab or enterprise environment. In line 48, I comment this out. I say to test code on your computer, non-enterprise environment. So what are you going to do if you want to test it on your own computer? What you're going to do is you're going to comment out line 38 through 44, like I did there. At this point, what I want you to do is comment out lines 38 through 44. We're going to run this as if you're running it from your own computer. After you do that, I want you to uncomment line 49 through 54. Now, for all those viewers that are doing this on their own computer, please follow along. So this is going to be the end of the OK button. So let me show you the start of the OK button. The start of the OK button was over here once you clicked it, right here. The end of the OK button was, I feel like I lost it. There it is, 56. Here, I'm adding the button to the form. And line 59, I'm showing all the properties and objects I just created on the form. Let's go ahead and uncomment line 59 out. Delete the hashtag. Okay, looks good. Let's go ahead and scroll all the way over to line 3. Let's highlight it. Let's go down to the line 59. Let's go ahead and run the section. See what happens. And look at that. We have the OK button. We have the ready status bar. Now, Let's go back to the logic of the code here. Let's go back to line 42. Or actually, I'm sorry about that. We're running this on our own computer. So we'll just do this on line 52. If we're doing this in a virtual environment, that's fine. Just follow along with me and do the same exact thing I'm doing here, because you can do this. You can run this line of code in your virtual environment. So I want you to follow along as well. Open up File Explorer, go to this PC, click on C drive here, and you can see we don't have a test folder in here. So let's create one. Right click, new, folder, test. Lowercase, capitalization, undercase, doesn't matter. Just make sure you make a folder called test. Make another folder here called subfolder, subfolder, child folder. They're both the same thing. We're going to create a document here. I'm going to call it test text doc. If we go to view here, we can see the file name extension. So you can see that's a text doc. Let's leave that open. Let's go ahead and go back here. We're going to go ahead and highlight line 3 through 60. Oh, sorry about that. Let me click here. Line 3 through 60. There's nothing in 60. Actually, that was 59. Let's go ahead and click run selection. Let's go and enter the computer name I'm using right now, which, as you noticed in the very beginning, I had entered host name. Let me go and scroll over to the code I ran in the beginning here. No worries. We'll just type it in real quick and we'll be able to see the host name. So within the blue section, type host name, all one word. Click the enter key, and you can see the name is Win10. Now you're going to go ahead and type that into the name box. Run section. You should see your app populate. There it is. You may have to hover over PowerShell ISE just to see that app. Win10. Go ahead and click OK. Before I do that, let me show you the subfolder here. Troubleshoot subfolder text. Click OK. We'll see if it deletes. And it's gone. Like that. That's awesome. Thank you for following along. If you like this, there's much more to come. I have many more scripts I want to show you that are going to do amazing things. So please like and subscribe so I can feel motivated to create those videos for you. These scripts are ideal if you're working help desk or as a system administrator, or you're just trying to get into IT. All right. So let's go ahead and close our app. Let's go ahead and go back one. Let's go ahead and enter to the text folder, and it's empty. What if I want to delete the test folder? Well, let's go ahead and go back to our code here. Line 52. This was invoking the command to remove the test subfolders. If I want to remove the test folder itself, delete the wildcard or the star, asterisk, whatever you want to call it, delete it. All right, great. Let's go ahead and run line 3 through, I believe that was 69. Let me go ahead and scroll down here. Actually, that's 72. All right, 72. I'm going to click run this section here. Oh, actually, I'm sorry about that. That is. Let me go and scroll up to the top again. Getting a little too click happy here. To 59. Okay, 3 to 59. Then I want you to click run selection. Let's go and enter our computer name, Win10. And I'm going to click OK. When I do, you're going to see this test folder disappear. See it disappear before your eyes. Complete. It's gone. Awesome. Let's close it out. Say, well, Danny, what if I want to delete a text document named text? I say, let's do it. Let's delete it. Go back here. Let's specify it's a text document. So we'll put text, as you see there. Do the closing. And it should look just like that. I don't like to move too fast because I want you to follow along. So let's go ahead and highlight 3 all the way down here to the line 59. Let's run the section. And let's put in our Win computer name here. Let's put this off to the side, and I'm going to show you that text document disappear. Okay, looks like we ran into a little issue here. It's saying can't find path because it doesn't exist. Okay, I'm going to close this out. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this, delete that, and I'm going to highlight it again. We'll run it again. We'll see if it works. 3 to 59. Section. Put Win10. Lowercase, uppercase, doesn't matter. Okay. Okay, it's not working. Give me a sec. I'll just be. Okay, it's pretty hilarious. Well, that says test.text. This says text.text. Let's change that to test. There you go. Now let's test this. I'm pretty sure it's gonna work now. Thanks for bearing with me, guys. This type of stuff happens, and you just gotta roll with it, troubleshoot it, and move on. Click here. 10. Okay. Interesting. All right. Let's try this one more time. Okay, well, finally got it to work. Remove the /. So the / is like right here, just delete it on line 52. And what I want you to do is, if you haven't already, just create a test with s dot text. Okay, and we're gonna run this, and it should work. Okay, so win 10. Bring up my folder, click OK. Complete. It's gone. So I just showed you how to remove a folder, subfolders, and a text document. If you want to remove anything else, perhaps like an executable, you just specify it. Let me close this out so I can show you where. You just specify it here. So if there's a .exe, you'd specify .exe. If, let's say, you have characters that maybe PowerShell doesn't recognize, you start adding numbers, slashes, spaces. You're gonna need to put you have to put this. Let me show you here. All right, you're gonna have to put quotations around it like that. Otherwise, PowerShell won't see it. You can see if I delete the quotations that PowerShell may not recognize that, right? So just remember, if you're putting any numbers, spaces, any characters that PowerShell doesn't see, put quotations around it like that. Okay, go ahead and delete this. And at this point, what we're gonna do is, if you're running this on your own computer, you can continue on with it. If you're running this using the virtual lab, I showed you how to set up, or you have your own virtual box set up connected to a Windows server. What I want you to do at this point is comment out lines 49 through 54. Okay, that's only to be run on a local computer. I'm gonna go ahead and comment out lines 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, and 44. Leave 37 commented. Okay, do not uncomment 37. You will see errors if you uncomment this, because I haven't put 2 hashtags just in case you delete the first one. You'll see that second one. This is supposed to stay a comment, so you know to run this in a virtual lab environment with the enterprise lab, and you know to run this one on your local computers, line 48 through line 54. Well, that would really be 49 through 54, right? Because 48 is supposed to stay commented. It's there. All right, so let's go ahead and test this on another computer. So here I have my Windows server. Control delete. If you work help desk, you'll be able to use this script for your clients. I would test it on one of your own computers, maybe one of your fellow techs, before you start testing on your clients. It's something I used when I was system administrator. I'm just going to go ahead and minimize this. And you can say, well, I can map to it and delete it. I can map to it and clear these folders. Absolutely, you can. But PowerShell does everything so much quicker. Why would you want to map to it, right click on a folder and wait 10 minutes for it to delete when PowerShell can do it in 10 seconds? You gotta work smarter, not harder. All right, so I'm just gonna test out connectivity here. Once I do, we'll go ahead and test out the script. So this is a good way to test remote connectivity to a computer. If you could enter a PowerShell session, and as you see, I'm entered here. I'm going to exit it and show you how to enter a PowerShell session. If you can't enter a PowerShell session with another computer, then you're having issues and that needs to be troubleshot. I'm going to create a video on how to troubleshoot that. Again, if you like and subscribe, believe me, I'm being motivated to just pump that video out, but it does take time to make these videos. So I'm going to enter PS session DC1 and press enter here. DC1 is the name of my server. So if you go here, I'll open up the server, go to local server. You can see this is the name of it. If you don't know what the name of it is, you can open up the command prompt and just type hostname like you did in PowerShell, DC1 right there. Okay. Or you could, like Pina, doing this lookup. There's different ways of finding a hostname of a remote computer. All right, so here I'm basically connecting to that server using PowerShell. It's the same way for computers. You just put in the computer name and I press enter. Now you notice my command area here is changing. It's saying please wait. That's a good indication that it's starting that connection. And then here you can see it says DC1 off to the side. That's indicating that I'm in DC1's PowerShell. Okay, so let me go ahead and type exit here. So connectivity is good. I'm gonna go on DC1 right now. I'm gonna do the same thing we're doing on our host computer, which is to make a folder. So first things first, let's go ahead and go to this PC, Windows C. Let's create a test folder here. All right. And inside of the test folder, I'm gonna go ahead and make a child folder. We're gonna go ahead and make a subfolder. These are IT terms we use here. New test document dot text. And you're gonna see all this disappear. I'll keep this one off to the side so you can see it. We'll bring up our other virtual machines. If you're running this on your own computer, I'd say still watch this. You know, don't skip this area because you're learning a bit, aren't you? So we'll go ahead and run line 3 all the way to, I believe it's line 59 if I remember. Yep, there it is. I'm gonna go ahead and run this section. All right, I'm gonna put DC1 for the computer name. And here I'm already specifying in my code that when it connects to DC1 to remove the test folder, child folder. So it's going to remove all the child folders inside of the test folder. Test is the parent, the child subfolder, test document, those are all, you know, sub items. All right, we're going to click OK. And it's saying processing. So it's starting that connection and it's complete. It just deleted everything that quick, you know. I'm telling you, if these folders had maybe like tons of documents, applications that would typically take 20 minutes to delete, it'll only take a few seconds, you know. So what I'm doing now is I'm gonna go ahead and exit this. Let's do the same thing we did earlier. Let's delete the test folder itself, right? Let's go over here to my run virtual environment code here, starting from line 37. Let's see line 42, we have our test. We'll delete that star symbol. Again, that indicates to delete all sub items. We'll just leave it like that. Okay, we'll go ahead and try from line 3 all the way to line 59. Run section and put DC1. Click OK. Processing complete. Done. Deleted. Awesome. All right, let's go ahead and delete a document, right? Test.text. All right, let me go ahead and put test.text up here for line 42. Test.text. And I'm going to go ahead and run it now. No forward slash. All right, so all the way to line 59. Oh, sorry guys. We still have the app open. We need to close it. Can't just just run it yet. Pull this down a little bit more so you see it. All right, so line 3 all the way through 59. DC1. Complete, done, gone. Just deleted that text document there. All right, awesome. So let's go over the rest of this app, because when you create an app, you're typically going to want to create a button that clears out whatever you've entered into the text box. You know, I mean, sure, you can manually go in there and delete it, but that's no fun. Create a button that will just clear it out. We want to create a button that will close the application. Sure, you can click the X up in the upper right-hand corner, but you know, normally apps will have like a close button. So let me show you how we can create those. So at this point, I want you to comment line 59 out. Comment it out. All right. And actually, before we move any further, I want you to uncomment line 59. I want to show you something real quick. Okay. For all those that have been watching, I want to show you something. Okay. Let's say I have a document here. Let's name it test. You already know it's .text. Let's put some underscores. Let's put some numbers in there. Let's put some characters in there. Because PowerShell is going to freak out when you put these characters in there. And the only way for PowerShell to actually delete this is for you to specify that you're using these type of characters by putting the quotations around it. Let's go ahead and go back over here. If you're doing this on your own computer, just watch for now, okay? You can adjust it here as needed if you're using lines 49 through 54. If you're doing this on a remote computer with me still, just watch this, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and create this text document. Go over to my computer here. I'm gonna input this as the name of the text document. Oh, let me go back. Okay. Let me grab the name of that. So if you click rename, it's gonna highlight everything I need. Control C, come over here. Replace text, test.text, place it. Oh, actually, I don't know what's going on right now. Okay, no worries, I'll just type it in. All right, test, yeah. Test underscore @ 3, 2, 1, 2, 3 dot text. Now, let's see if we see any errors here at the bottom. Probably not. I'll tell you what, it's not going to run though. It's not going to delete that because it's got all these wild characters like the @ symbol. So what do? Put quotations around it. Notice how everything's like, you see a lot of the code is turning blue, but once you put the quotations around it, all of a sudden it's back to that green. That's good. So now if we run this, everything looks good here, which I think it does. Yep, looks like it does. We'll just go ahead and run this line 3 all the way to 59. Put in DC1. Okay. Now it says it doesn't exist. Huh, interesting. Okay. All right, just give me 1 sec, okay? So this is a better example, actually. Let me go back over to my server. I'm gonna put new test I can spell correctly. 1, 2, 3, space 1, 2, 3. That space is gonna make PowerShell crazy, okay? I'm gonna go back over here. I was testing this out a second ago and it worked. But let's go ahead and see what if I remove semicolons there. Okay, I'm going to highlight 3 all the way to 59. Okay, so I have test 1, 2, 3, space 1, 2, 3. If I run it, actually, I'm sorry about that. Let me go ahead and exit this out real quick. Go ahead and go back down here. I'm gonna run this section of it. All right, and put DC1. Okay. It's gonna say positional parameter can't be found that access argument 123.text. It's because it doesn't recognize that space. So what I'm gonna do is put a semicolon, semicolon. All right, there we go. Around C and the T at the end of text. Okay, I'll go back over here. Make sure it's still there. Still there. Over here, go to line 3. Line 59. Run section. DC1. Okay. We're gonna watch it leave. And it's gone. Okay. If I come back over to my Windows 10, it's completed. All right, cool. So if you're having issues deleting a file, folder with space in it, that's how you delete it, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and just put that. We're gonna test this again at the end. Put that back to text. Leave it like that. So what I'm doing at this point is I've showed you how to do it to a remote computer. I've showed you how to do it on your own computer. Let's go back and make this run as if you're doing it on your own computer, or if you're doing it on a virtual computer, you can still do it on the virtual computer. So we're going to comment line 38 all the way through line 44 out. Okay, 38 to 44, comment it out. You're going to uncomment lines 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54. Okay, this show dialog line right here on 59, you're going to comment that out. Okay. And we're going to run this as if you're doing it on your own computer at this point. So here you have a new object button. It's creating a button. This button is going to be called content C button for content clear button. Okay. That's the name of the variable. Again, this is the object. This is equal to the variable that we've created. And from now on, we're going to reference that variable. That variable has properties. And it's going to say text clear for the button. Location is going to be 100, 100. And once it's clicked, it's going to do whatever's within this parentheses and curly bracket there. It's going to clear out the computer text box text. And it's going to say, you know, to clear out any text in there. If we wanted to have text in there, we could type it in there. If we want it to be empty, we just have quotations. Afterwards, our status bar is going to say ready. So we're ready for the next computer. Okay. And it's going to add this to the form here. And we're going to go ahead and uncomment line 72 out. We're going to highlight 3 to 72. And we're going to run this. Start down here, work my way up top. Actually, that wasn't good. All right, we'll start at line 3, work our way down over to 72. Section. I'm just going to enter this. You don't have to run any code at this point. I'm just going to show you the functionality of this. DC1. Actually, yeah, let's run this. So here you have a test.txt document. Let me make sure I have one on my actual computer that I'm using right now. I'm going to pull it up here so you can see. Look in the C drive here. I don't have a test.txt, so I'm going to create one real quick. No, it's a retext. All right, cool. So that's that. Click in here. And it should delete that. Click OK. And it's gone. So after I finish deleting it, I'm going to click clear. And it's going to clear it out, and it's saying it's ready for the next computer. Maybe I'll try DC2 next. Well, I'm not going to try that because I don't have DC2. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close it out. All right, so you've seen what that does. Let's go ahead and comment 72 out. Let's go here to the cancel button. We're almost getting to the end, guys. We're almost at 94. Cancel button. It's going to create a new object. Cancel button. Okay. Create a new object button. It's going to reference it as the cancel button variable. Here, the text is going to say close. Location is going to be 100, or actually 800, 100. Okay. So it's going to be about 800 from the left side of the form, and 100 from the top bar, right? And once you click that button, it's going to perform this, and it's going to basically close the form out using the close parentheses command there. It's going to add this button to the form, and we're going to see it. So uncomment 82 out. All right, so let's go ahead and run this. Actually, let's go back down here. So 82 and 84 basically do the same thing. What it's going to do is you see one show dialog here, another one on 84. So it's going to show the form twice. Once we close the form out the first time, it's going to show it a second time. You'll see right now. Let me go ahead and run 3 and down to 85 to the end region here. I'm going to run the section. So, DC1, clear, close. Oh, form came up again. Why? Because that show dialog here on 84. So if you want, you can just leave it. Comment that out. It could stay commented out. That's fine. All right. Here's our catch. So I'm running this on virtual machine. It's connected to the Windows Enterprise. In my video, I show you how to install RSAT. So you have the Active Directory module. We're going to go and uncomment this out. So I'll run it. If you follow me along with my video earlier, you could just do this portion as well. Uncomment 87, uncomment 89, uncomment 90 through 94. Okay. And you'll see this run. And you're going to click this run script button. So it's going to run the whole thing. And I don't have to highlight anything because it's going to run the whole thing. Like that. You can see it loaded Active Directory. And we'll try this one more last time here. I believe that it's going to test, right? All right, so DC1. Okay. Test that text. Oh, right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually uncomment lines 38 through 44 because I want to show you this. And we're going to comment out 49 through 54. In my future videos, I'm also going to do the same thing. I'm going to show you how to do it on your own computer if you choose to do it that way, or how to do it on a virtual machine. So let's go ahead and run it now. Oh, you know what? Sorry. So it's still got this in there, right? We gotta delete that. And it's gone. Okay, clear, close. So now we have a fully functional app. Remember, the logic is all behind the OK button. So if you want to make it do different things, maybe you want it to send a folder to the computer instead of removing one. You want it to do a group policy update. You'd all specify that here. So let's try it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna comment this out. Space comment. I'm going to take that, put it over here, put GP update. Okay. And let's watch it. Awesome. Let's go over here. Should do a GP update on this computer. It's a little extra. Or just run the whole thing. DC1. Okay. Remember, group policy updates, they take a long time. Could take a few minutes. But it's doing a group policy on that computer. It's doing a group policy update. And it's done. Clear it, close. You won't see anything come up, but it's done. All right. Well, hope you enjoyed the video. Bye.